What is up, guys? It is the Sportster Bradley Walker, and welcome to the Walker Report. Happy Thursday, guys. Hopefully everyone out there is having a good week as we have Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully everyone out there is going to have some weekend plans. Yours truly will be flying to Charlotte, North Carolina the day after tomorrow to meet Adam, who is unavailable this evening, but I will get to meet him in person. Unfortunately, up till this point, there is rain in the forecast Saturday, Sunday, and Monday while I'm there. So hopefully the rain will break away on Sunday for the race, because that's the main reason why I'm going to hang out with him. But the major reason is to go see the race. So hopefully, bearing that everything will happen, Mother Nature will cooperate. The Walker Report, guys, is part of NGSC Sports, guys. Remember the website. It's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. Yes, guys, I have articles over there. Please go over there and take a look at them. We are also part of Snowman Multimedia Sports, Mancini Media, and Game Winner Sports Network. We have three sponsors. The first sponsor is CreatingZenSpaces.com. It is the local choice in St. Petersburg, Florida, for house cleaning, organization, decluttering, and pet sitting. It's about finding the peace within you and adding comfort to your life. And guys, remember, Zen Spaces begins with you. Be kind to yourself and one another. We are also sponsored by Garrett's Carrots. Illuminate your inner self, shatter the trendy norms, and open up your world to a newfound level of confidence and admiration. Garrett's Carrots, designer jewelry and luxury accessories at garrettscarrots.com. We are also, guys, sponsored by funwags.com. Born from near tragedy when Roxy Odin and had a reaction from a store-brand treat, fuel to succeed with treats made from 3 to 5 ingredients you can pronounce. Invite you to try funwags.com, because all of our fur babies deserve the best. Welcome in, guys. Happy Thursday again. Let me welcome in two great co-hosts. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Oh, there we are.
Hey, sorry if I seem a little off. I'm having a long week and I've got a lot on my mind, so I'm trying to stay positive about everything. What was I going to say? Oh, that's right. We're going to be going back in time tonight. We're going to go back to the 60s, the only decade we have not done so far. Anything you guys want to touch upon before we dive back?
Hey, you know what would make this theme show better if we had some 60s music to add to it.
Why not?
Are we allowed to play that?
Oh, that's yeah.
As long as it's the instrumental. As long as it doesn't have any words in it.
All right, hang on a second. Hang on, let me see. Hang on, let me go to YouTube. Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can find some instrumental 60s music. Okay, I think that actually might put me in a better mood than I am right now. So,
Booker T, EMGs, Green Onions.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. This loads up.
Favorite of mine.
Okay, let's see here. 60s instrument. Let's see what comes up here.
Yes.
I think I spelled that right. Did I spell that right? Oh, I did. Oh, how did I pull that off? I spelled that right. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's see here. Instrumentals of the 60s. Now, guys, I wasn't even thought of in this decade, so bear with me, because I wasn't even thought of. My parents were young, so both my parents were very young.
With 25 grams of protein, 0 sugar.
I'm gonna mute the ad real quick, and then as soon as the ad is over, I'll hang on a second. There we go. Skip ad. Okay, here, let's try this. Unmute.
The name of
I think Glove is All Right, I believe is the name of the song.
yeah.
Maybe that's the album. Something like that. Yeah. No, I know. I grew up listening to what is really oldies music now, but I did grow up listening to oldies music like CCR and all of them, all the oldies music and stuff like that. So,
And also, I want to give my thoughts and prayers out to the family of Tina Turner. You know, we lost her.
Yes.
we also lost Jim Brown too. So there you go, two big icons. Two big icons. We lost. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So we will dive back into the 60s. Here are some of the historic moments sports-wise. Got to start off with this one. Cassius Clay. Maybe somebody knows who Cassius Clay is. I don't. Anyone out there know
Muhammad
who
Ali.
Cassius
Ali.
Clay is? He made his debut at the 1960 Rome Games. He was 18 years old, and he was afraid to fly to Italy, but had no fear inside the ring. Easily outpointing Poland's, and I cannot pronounce that name, in the final. Clay's fighting style won over locals, and 36 years later, Clay, known now as Muhammad Ali, again provided a memorable Olympic moment when he lit the cauldron in the 1996 Summer Games in Atlanta. Again, the historic moment, well, I shouldn't say historic moment, tragic moment during that Olympics was the bombing in Olympic Park that was there. But yes, I was watching that on TV, watching that Olympics on TV in 1996 when that bomb went off. But yeah, that's craziness. But yes, Muhammad Ali, back then, Cassius Clay made his appearance. We all kind of knew who he was at that time. Wilma Rudolph.
What was he known for saying all the time? What was Muhammad Ali known for saying all the time?
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yep.
But I just don't want to talk about Frazier. Don't want to talk about Frazier.
Yeah. Yeah, him and Frazier were that was great rivalry, those three matches that they had with each other.
I thought
And guys, I think they're making a George Foreman movie
Yeah, they are.
about George Foreman. So I'm sure that Rumble in the Jungle will be included in that movie. Him
Thriller
losing
in
to
Manila.
Ali.
Thriller in Manila.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Thrill in Manila Joe
Rudd.
Frazier.
No,
That was
Frazier.
Frazier. Rumble in the
But I
Jungle
think-
was George Foreman
75.
and Zaire. Yeah, outside.
Yeah. Frazier down.
If you guys watched, I mean, I'm sure you guys have watched. If you watched that boxing match on YouTube, you could see how tired both of them were. It took 2 or 3
watched it
people to
live.
get Ali off the mat. How tired he was, taking the punishment that he took, number one, but number two, how hot it was out in that ring, being outdoors in Zaire. So, yeah, there was no joke. How
And back then, they went 15 rounds, not 10.
correct? That is correct. Yeah, they went
So
5
it's
more
more-
rounds. Correct. I guess Wilma Rudolph won 3 gold medals and set 3 world records in the 100 meter, 200 meter, and 4x100 meter relay. Made her the first American woman to capture 3 events in a single Olympian. Early in her childhood, Rudolph overcame polio and became a college track star at Tennessee State. So again, there's another name that
Yes.
we have. Bill Mazeroski walks it off in the 1960 World Series. Among the 10th, after blowing a 4-0 lead, the Pirates trailed 7-4 entering the bottom of the 8th. They scored 5 runs only to watch the New York Yankees tie the game in the top of the 9th. That allowed Bill Mazeroski to step to the face Ralph Terry in the bottom of the 9th, and the Pirates' second baseman became the first and only player to hit a walk-off home run in Game 7 of a World Series, sending the ball over the left field wall at Pittsburgh Forbes Field to win. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Lou, I think that's the only Pirates' only World Series, right? I don't think they won one since.
No.
Oh, they won another one?
79.
Oh, okay. I see. I did not know that. Okay, so they have 2 as a franchise. Okay. I did not know that. I thought the only one that they won was in 1960. Okay.
I have it on cover of Sports Illustrated from that year.
It says 61 and 61. Few things stirred up baseball fans like a good home run chase. And in the 1961, the prominent sports question throughout the summer was whether someone could finally top Babe Ruth's single-season home run record of 60. On October 1st, Yankee slugger Roger Maris finally topped the great Bambino, hitting his 61st homer off Boston Red Sox pitcher Tracy Stollard. Maris was actually criticized by some hometown fans at first, given Ruth's revenance in the Bronx. But over the 37 years, the record stood and it grew in esteem. Actually, we know that it was broken last year by another Yankee, Aaron Judge. Can someone please tell me why Roger Maris is not in the Hall of Fame?
Well, 61 was really his only great year, really. I mean, he was kind of consistent. Didn't hit a lot of home runs. I mean, they had the 61 season, but that was really his best season.
Okay. I wasn't. I mean, I know Lou too.
He wasn't very well liked.
He didn't talk to the media. I know that's another reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame either.
Blame him.
Yeah, he wasn't really one of those that talked to the media a lot either.
They operate in privacy, and the media can get a little,
Right. Oscar Robinson won the National Basketball Association's Rookie of the Year in 1961.
There you go.
During the 61-62 season, Robinson became the first player to average a triple-double, 10 or more points, rebounds, and assists per game. Later in life, Robinson won an MVP award, an NBA title, and was elected to the Hall of Fame and inspired a generation of multi-talented guards like Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd, and Russell Westbrook, players who all-around skill sets have revolutionized pro basketball. In 1962, the other team in New York celebrated their first season. The New York Mets drew large crowds but played awful baseball, posting a 40-120 record, the most losses by a major league team in the modern era. The 1962 Mets has since become a reference point for sports futility. Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, put it this way. The Oakland A's of the East Coast. No.
Oh, no. There it is. That might get broken this year.
It might. Look at them now, 10-40. Oh boy.
Yeah. To play or not to play. When USF President John F. Kennedy was assassinated on November 22nd, 1963, his death resonated through all aspects of American life. The NFL decided to play games that Sunday. A choice commissioner, Pete Rozelle, would later call the biggest mistake of his career. Players remember the eerie feeling of taking the field, some even crying. A few weeks later, the annual Army-Navy football game was played in Kennedy's honor. I did not know. I mean, Pete Rozelle, guys, I don't really think he made too many bad decisions for the NFL.
No.
He was a pretty great commissioner during his tenure as NFL commissioner. So for him to say that was the worst thing of his career, that's pushing it right there.
The Yuts we have now.
Correct. Does anybody know who the UCLA Bruins are? I guess they started their dynasty in the 1960s.
With John Wooden as head coach?
Yes, they won under the tutelage of John Wooden. The team won 10 NCAA tournament championships from 64 to 75 and produced some of the college basketball's all-time greats like Lou Alcindor or
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
There you go, and Bill Walton. Okay. Let's see here. What else we got here? Let's see here. The Golden Bear wears a green jacket with a record performance. With a record score of 17 under par, Jack Nicklaus captured the 1965 Masters. The score remained the best until somebody by the name of Tiger Woods surpassed him in 1997.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Cutting down the nets and breaking down barriers. Remember, you know who this is. Coached by Don Haskins, Texas Western won the 1966 NCAA men's basketball tournament, but it was not any regular championship in the final. Texas Western all-black starting five faced off against Kentucky's all-white starting five. Texas Western's victory broke down racial barriers and was dramatized in the 2006 film Glory Road. If you have not seen that movie, I suggest you see it because it's very good. Because I've seen it a bunch of times.
I haven't seen it, so I need to watch it.
Yeah, Gerald, it really is an interesting movie about how Texas Western wasn't, as big as, say, Duke.
No.
They weren't well known. The coach that they got was, it's really an interesting story. It really is. It's worth watching about that, about the Texas Western. Was it the Miners? Lou, is that what they were called? Texas Western Miners, right? Is there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. In 1966, June 8th, the AFL-NFL merged. NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle announced his league would merge with the American Football League. The new NFL would eventually expand to 28 teams, finally accepting AFL teams among their ranks. Though the AFL and NFL were bitter rivals for much of the 1960s. England won the World Cup in 1966 for their first tournament championship. They topped West Germany 4-2 at Wembley Stadium and was paced by George Hurst, who scored a hat trick. The victory is sometimes noted as an ushering in a cultural shift in England. So that has to do with World Cup soccer.
Right.
The game of the century. Notre Dame met Michigan State in East Lansing and was billed as the football's game of the century. Both teams were undefeated and evenly matched, played to a fitting 10-10 tie. Instead of going for a game-winning drive, Notre Dame coach I cannot pronounce that last name, and I'm going to butcher it. I know that name, and I can't pronounce it correctly. You know how to say it, Lou? Parseghian?
No.
Parseghian?
Parseghian. I think it's Parseghian.
Tides decided to run out the clock. Super Bowl. Super Bowl I was played on January 15, 1967, between the Green Bay Packers of the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs of the AFL at Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. The Packers won 35-10 and would also take Super Bowl II under the direction of head coach Vince Lombardi. Who's he? I've never heard of him either.
Yeah.
In 1967, Muhammad Ali refused to enter the military and fight in the Vietnam War, stating that he was a conscious objector to service. Ali was stripped of his heavyweight title. Ali was found guilty for refusing to serve, which the Supreme Court overturned in 1971. Throughout his exile from boxing, Ali forfeited his beliefs with public speaking engagements and continued to be one of America's most outspoken voices. Yes, he did. If you've seen the movie Ali with Will Smith, that is definitely something that the 1967 NBA Finals were the only championship round this decade did not see the Boston Celtics celebrate after what was said and done. The Philadelphia 76ers defeated the Celtics earlier in the playoffs and topped the San Francisco Warriors in 6 games. During the regular season, the 76ers went 68-13 on the strength of Wilt Chamberlain's dominance. Very cool. Very cool. The American Basketball Association opened up on October 13th, 1967. The Pittsburgh Pipers posted the best record during the regular season, narrowly defeating the New Orleans Buccaneers in 7 games in the finals. Over a decade, the ABA introduced many new faces to professional basketball, from a red, white, and blue ball to the three-point shot. That's cool. That ball is awesome, by the way. That ball is awesome. The New York the NHL did not expand until 1967, with 6 new teams entering the league. 2 teams were assigned to California, 2 to Pennsylvania, and 2 to the Midwest. That would lead to a wave of expansion over the next decade, and by 2017, the NHL had 31 teams. I think it's 32 now. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Come a long way.
Stan Mikita's Run for the Ages. Dramatic center for the Chicago Blackhawks, won his 4th Art Ross Trophy in 5 years in 1968. Trophy is awarded to the player who leads the NHL in points. Mikita also had a 2-time winner of the league's MVP and Sportsmanship Awards. Mikita, a future Hall of Famer, won only 1 Stanley Cup during the decade and later was polarized as a fictional donut shop owner in the film Wayne's World. Yeah, that was cool. Stan Mikita Donuts. That's cool. Let's see here. A masterful mistake. On the 17th hole of the final round of the 1968 Masters, Roberto D'Anvizino signed off on an incorrect record scorecard. That fateful error canceled a potential playoff against Bob Golby, who was awarded the win. The Argentinian native later called himself stupid. That hurts. You got to make sure you sign your card correctly. In 1968, St. Louis Cardinal pitcher Bob Gibson awarded a season for the ages. Gibson posted a 1.12 earned run average, the lowest in modern baseball history. With a 22-9 record, Gibson threw 13 shutouts and also led the National League with 268 strikeouts. His performance earned him the Cy Young and MVP. 22-9? Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's impressive.
Wow. Yeah. 22-9 with a 1.12 ERA. Jesus. That's insane. Here you go. Harvard beats Yale 29-29. The 1966 rivalry football game between Harvard and Yale is one of the most memorable in the 135 meetings between the two schools. Harvard scored 16 points in the last minute to tie the game 29-29, and although the contest finished with the same score the following day, the Harvard Crimson student newspaper proclaimed it a shot at their rivals. Harvard beats Yale 29-29. That is one of the college football games that I think all of us really try not to watch, but I always will like to tune in and watch Harvard, Yale. It's the 2 biggest Ivy League schools.
You have to go Harvard, Yale. You have to. You got to see that.
Well, obviously we watch Army Navy because it's more than a football game. We all know that. But Harvard Yale is a great rival game. I mean, that's a game that, if you're a college football fan and you have time and your team isn't on at the same time, I'll always go over there and watch Harvard Yale. Who is this guy? Joe Namath. Before Super Bowl 3 Jets quarterback Joe Namath was cornered by reporters at his hotel pool and tried Tired of hearing about the greatness of his upcoming opponent, the Baltimore Colts. Namath made a proclamation. The cocky quarterback guaranteed victory and fulfilled his boast as the Jets upset the Colts 16-7. The win certified teams from the AFL as equals to their NFL counterparts. Canadian dominance. With their Stanley Cup win in 1969, the Montreal Canadiens won their 5th championship in a decade. Combined with the Maple Leafs 4 cups from the 1960s, teams from Canada combined for 9 championships. Jesus, that would be that true. 7 years after going 40-120 and posting one of the worst records in Major League history, New York Mets won their first World Series, christened the Miracle Mets. The former ragtag team was propelled by stud pitchers Tom Seaver and Jerry Koosman. Cleon Jones caught the final out, dropping to one knee, and scores of New Yorkers rushed the field to celebrate their chumps turned to champs. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's where the term Miracle Mets comes from. Okay.
Right.
I wasn't 100% sure where that came from. Rod Lavar's Grand Slam. In 1969, Australian tennis star Ron, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that name correctly, achieved Laver, I'm sorry, thank you. His second Grand Slam, winning all 4 major tennis tournaments in the same year. Previously accomplished the feat in 1962 and remains the only men's single player to complete a Grand Slam twice. Many people today may recognize Laver as the namesake for a popular Adidas tennis shoe. Yeah, I would think so. Adidas is pretty popular.
And it's named after him too.
Here, guys, is the major sports champions by years. 1960, it was. Let's see here. I gotta get my notes back up here for a second. Pro baseball was the Pirates. Basketball was Boston Celtics. College basketball was the Buckeyes. Boxing was Floyd Patterson. Pro football was the Philadelphia Eagles. College football was Minnesota.
Yes.
1961, pro baseball was the Yankees. Basketball was the Celtics. College basketball was Cincinnati. Floyd Patterson. In boxing, pro football was the Packers. College football was Alabama. Okay. Yes. Maybe that was the start of – was that Bear Bryant's teams?
It sure was.
Okay. 62, pro baseball, once again, was the Yankees. Yep. Basketball was the Celtics. Cincinnati again. Sonny Liston was the heavyweight champion at the time. The Green Bay Packers, once again, in college football, it was the USC Trojans. 1963, pro baseball was won by the Dodgers. That's Los Angeles, not Brooklyn. Right. Boston. Loyola was the college basketball champion. Sonny Liston still had the title. The Chicago Bears was pro football, and college football was Hook 'em Horns, the Texas Longhorns.
Texas
was in 1963. Pro baseball in 64 was the St. Louis Cardinals. Once again, Boston dominated basketball. UCLA won college basketball. This guy named Cassius Clay was the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yes.
The Browns won a championship. The Browns were pro football champions, and wow, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the last year they actually did something.
College football was once again Alabama. 65 was the Dodgers again, Celtics, UCLA, Muhammad Ali, the Packers, and college football was Alabama and Michigan State at that time. In 1966, the World Series champions was the Baltimore Orioles. Boston once again had the NBA title. UTEP was the college basketball champions. Muhammad Ali, Green Bay again, and Notre Dame was tops in college football.
Yes.
In 67, it was the Cardinals again. This time it was the 76ers, UCLA, Muhammad Ali, Green Bay again, and then USC. 68, it was Detroit Tigers won a World Series. The Celtics again, UCLA, Joe Frazier was the heavyweight champion. Pro football was the Jets, and Ohio State ruled college football. The Mets won in 69, excuse me. Boston again, UCLA, Joe Frazier. The Chiefs were champions, and the Texas Longhorns were once again champions of college football.
And also what I assume that the Orioles didn't always suck.
That's true. Let's see here. St. Louis Cardinals defeated the New York Yankees in the 64 World Series just one day after managing the Cardinals to a championship. John Keane resigned from the St. Louis to take over for Yogi Berra in New York. Did not know that. Wow. Okay.
Hey, guys, I'm going to be listening, but I got to get something to eat real quick.
No problem.
Okay.
The collapse of the Philadelphia Phillies kept things interesting in the NL. The Phillies had a 6.5 game lead with 2 weeks left, but lost 10 in a row to choke miserably down the stretch. The Cardinals and Reds battled it out until the last day of the season. The Yankees won their 5th straight pennant behind the strong pitching of rookie phenom Mel Stottlemyre. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Stottlemyre, yep.
The Yankees were sold to CBS, who purchased an 80% share of the club for $11.2 million. Charles Finley tried to move his Kansas City Athletics to Louisville, Kentucky, but MLB denied the request. Okay. Did they become the Oakland A's?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. Let's see here. The hot bats in the AL were Minnesota rookie Tony Oliva led in AL batting with a .323 average. Oliva also led in runs scored 109 and hits 217. The Twins' Harmon Killebrew led the AL in home runs with 49. Okay. Dean Chances was the best pitcher in the AL, winning 20 wins to go on with a 1.65 ERA. In the National League, Roberto Clemente was the best hitter with a .339 batting average, 211 hits. Willie Mays had the most home runs in the NL with 47. Sandy Koufax in his prime as well, dominating hitters with a 19-5 record with a tiny 1.74 ERA. Whew. That's badass. That's just
that is.
And Koufax is one of the best. The next thing is all about the Celtics. They dominated. All right, heavyweight champion Sonny Liston lost his title to Cassius Clay despite coming in as an 8-1 favorite. During the bout, Liston suffered a torn tendon in his left arm. He gave up after Clay took command in the 6th round. Clay himself came dangerously close to losing when he was temporarily blinded from causes that had been applied to stop Liston's bleeding. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Okay. After the fight, the flamboyant new champion revealed he was the member of the Black Muslim sect. This is that he be called by his non-slave name, Muhammad Ali. 1964, most boxing enthusiasts continue to call him Cassius Clay. The Liston-Clay contract called for a rematch in violation of WBA rules. After the rematch was signed, the WBA stripped Clay of his title, called for a tournament of ranking contenders. Clay Ali suffered a hernia 3 days before the start of the event and had to be postponed. It's estimated that over $400,000 was lost in promotions. Ooh, that hurts.
Yeah.
2 other champions changed hands. Sugar Ramos lost the featherweight title on a TKO to 21-year-old Vicente Salvador in Mexico City. And Pon Kenapich of Thailand won the flyweight crown for the 3rd time in a row. The Cleveland Browns won the NFL championship with a shocking 27-0 victory over the Baltimore Colts. In the AFL, the Buffalo Bills bought the city its first major sports championship with a 27 win over then the San Diego Chargers. Did not know that. Yeah. Although the NFL continued to be dominating the league, the AFL secured a TV contract with NBC worth $34 million, spending its existence for a long run. Colts quarterback Johnny Unitas was voted the best player of the year, and Colts head coach Don Shula won coaching of the year. Commissioner Pete Rozelle reinstated Paul Hornrug after being banned in 1963 for gambling. Did not know that. See,
you got in trouble for gambling back then too.
Notre Dame came within 95 seconds of a perfect season until USC struck for a last-minute touchdown in the most dramatic upset of the season. Alabama undefeated champion of the SEC, then became the popular choice for the number 1. Unfortunately for Tide fans, Alabama lost its bowl game to Texas. Princeton won the only other major school with an undefeated record. Okay. In 1964, one of the best organized and most successful Olympic Games in history were held in Japan. Japan was the first Asian nation ever to host the Olympics. 25 world records were broken, and 52 of 61 possible Olympic records were also broken. The game's biggest track and field stars were Bob Hayes, Peter Snell, and Balik Adabi. Hayes won the men's 100 meters and then anchored the U.S. 400-meter relay team to a world record victory. Wow. Okay. Again, I did not know anything about that, so that's pretty cool. 1965, Sandy Koufax of the Los Angeles Dodgers cemented his place in baseball history with an amazing 2-shutout World Series performance to complement his 26 wins in the regular season. He also threw a perfect game in 1965 and struck out an outstanding 382 batters, an MLB record. Jesus. I guess if you were up to bat against him, you weren't going to get a hit.
Definitely not.
1965 World Series featured 2 teams that had come from 6th place in 1964, all the way back to prominence. Dodgers ended up defeating the Minnesota Twins 4-2. Interesting. Okay.
Because remember, back then we didn't have this division nonsense.
Maury Wills was a menace on the base pass, stealing 92 bases. The Dodgers were credited with bringing back old school small ball, winning the pennant with a league low 78 home runs. They won with tight defense, high speed base running, and strong pitching. Although 5 teams were in contention in the final month, the Dodgers went on a 13-game winning streak to clinch. Cool. I did not know that. All right. I did not know that. Okay. That's pretty cool. Let's see here. Keep going down here. Let's see here. Shockingly, absolutely no one, the Boston Celtics won their 7th consecutive NBA title. So they, until the 76ers beat the, let's see here. Green Bay Packers and Baltimore Colts, who tied for the Western Division title in the regular season, were all tied up at 10 after 4 grueling quarters of football. The Packers won 13-10 after a 13-minute 3-0 sudden death overtime, advancing to the NFL championship to take on the defending champion Cleveland Browns. The Packers went on to win the whole thing, defeating the Browns 23-12. Cleveland's Jim Brown, rest in peace, was named league MVP. The Bills and Chargers rematched their 64 championship again in the 65 AFL championship game. The Bills again came out victorious, stifling the Chargers with a 23-0 win. San Diego's Lance Allworth was named AFL MVP. Michigan State surprised the college football world in 1965, finishing the regular season undefeated after being picked by some to finish as low as 7th in the Big Ten. They were voted the most outstanding team of the year, and they promptly went out and lost the Rose Bowl to UCLA. The AP picked Arkansas as its favorite team. Nebraska also chalked up a perfect season in 65. Mike Garrett's USC 185 bundle of power was awarded the Heisman Trophy. Other top players in 65 were Rick Norton, Steve Judy, Don Anderson, Tom Nobles, and Carl McAdams. Conference champions included Alabama, Duke, South Carolina, Dartmouth, West Virginia, BYU, and UCLA. Oh, and there's another thing. In 1966, Frank Robinson was traded from the Reds to the Orioles. He immediately took control of the team and led them to their first AL pennant win in the World Series, in which they routed the defending world champs, the Dodgers. Robinson was also brought home world's coveted Triple Crown Award, in which he won batting average, RBI, and home run, becoming only the 9th player ever to do so. Okay. So that was that big trade.
You don't see that very often.
That was the big trade. Let's see here. Jack Nicklaus proved himself to be one of the greatest golfers of all time, though he skipped some tournaments. Nicklaus participated in the 4 largest of them, winning 2. By winning the Masters and the British Open, Nicklaus increased his yearly earnings to $111,419, which was 2nd in golf. I'm not sure what that would be today. The richest golfer in 1966 was Billy Casper. By winning the U.S. Open and playing more frequently than Nicklaus, Casper earned $10,525 more than him. Casper was a fine golfer. Many golf fans were upset at the loss of Arnold Palmer in the U.S. Open, though Palmer had led by 7 strokes in the 4th round. Casper soon passed him by. There's the thing about England soccer. There's the American Mets. The basketball, boxing. Tony Jacklin, a newcomer in the major golf tournaments, became the first Englishman to win the British Open since 1951. Ray Foy, 26, who also never won a major tournament, won the PGA Tour. Olivia Moody, 35, spent 14 years in the Army teaching and playing golf before winning the U.S. Open. George Archer, 29, a 6'6", was the tallest professional on tour, but that's not all he was recognized for. He won the Masters, earning $186,975. In the World Series of Golf, which matched the winners of the 4 major golf tournaments, Oral Moody won the 36-hole score of 141, earning him $77,500. I have to say that's quite interesting. I don't know what that would be in today's money. I don't know offhand, but
about 10 times as much.
I was gonna say, didn't Brooks Koepka win like $3 or $4 million when he won the PGA last weekend? Something like that.
About $3 million.
Yeah.
But I wonder what Bryson DeChambeau would say about that. Anyway, Brooks,
you know what?
No good.
Here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing, Lou, about that. DeChambeau was one of the first ones to congratulate him coming off the green. I watched Brooks walk off the green, and DeChambeau came over and gave him a high five. He was one of the first guys to give him praise when he stepped off the golf course.
So how do they? But were they? Were they getting on together, or was that just a complete act? Because I know they can't stand each other.
Well, I mean, and now think of this: that they're on Live together. So that's another thing. They're on the Live tour together. So I don't think they're on the same team. And you're right. You're 100% right. They don't like each other.
No. I want to pee on this guy. Right? That's what I got to think.
They can't stand each other.
Yeah.
I think they can. They can't. Yeah.
The Tom and Jerry are Sylvester and Tweety of the golf circuit.
Correct. Yeah, they are. They're hated rivals. The 60s were an interesting decade. There was a lot of names that are staples now in sports that we can all look back on, like Frank Robinson, Roberto Clemente, Lou Alcindor, now Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Walton, Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston. All of those guys are all well known. If you know sports, you know all those names. I mean,
I almost forgot about Liston, but I remember that.
I mean, all those names are, Joe Frazier's another one. It was an interesting decade of. Now, the one thing I didn't see, I'm not a NASCAR fan, but was there no NASCAR in the 60s, or was it not as known?
It wasn't as known
Okay.
It wasn't as known. NASCAR really didn't really take off until the 70s.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious. I didn't see any. I went through a bunch of websites looking for sporting things for us to talk about, and I didn't see any. When I look at sports, I try to look at all the decades and make sure that I include everything. There were no rugby notes or anything like that, but soccer, and I try to include everything. I mean, the NHL wasn't that popular in the 60s.
Rugby was.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and in the 60s, like the NBA, the Daytona 500 was on tape delay. For that matter, so was the Indianapolis 500.
Actually, the very first Daytona 500 was the Daytona road course.
It was on the beach, right? On the beach.
That happened in 1958 or 60.
But I think it was 60 actually.
But back then, back then it wasn't really known. You know, it was just known for hey, people build cars and go out there and race them on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't become a big deal until Bill France stepped in and started the National Association of Stock Car Auto Racing.
Okay.
Then when he stepped in and bought it or started it, that's when NASCAR just blew up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Bill France is the one behind the Daytona 500, moving it from the road course to an actual
To the track.
Yeah.
And the very first Daytona 500 was in 1970.
The year of my birth. Yeah. How about that? Both were on tape delay back then, so
Yeah, it was.
yeah. I remember when the Indianapolis 500 was on tape delay.
It was.
Yep.
And also, a lot of the races back then too wasn't actually live races.
Right.
Because back then they didn't really know what live shows were, except for like football, baseball, sports. But when it comes to stuff like NASCAR, they didn't know.
They consider it second rate.
Exactly.
Well, that's the term I use. Second rate.
But now it's one of the top sports in America.
Oh, yeah, I would agree.
Or like they put it this way, well, to be honest with you, we don't really give a cat's ass.
I hope the weather holds off and I'm able to see the Coca-Cola 600 on Sunday. Right now though, I think there's like a 70% chance of rain on Sunday in Charlotte. So
70% chance of heavy severe thunderstorms.
Yeah, heavy rain. Yeah, they said it was going to be close to a half an inch of rain on from the weatherchannel.com. That there is an opportunity that there could be up to a half an inch of rain.
I heard up to 2 inches.
Oh, okay, 2 inches. Okay, maybe it's
big rain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Gerald, you would know better than I would, bud. You're the storm watcher, so you would know better than I would. What's the rain chances for Monday? Coming back from North Carolina. I think I saw 50% chance of rain on Monday in Charlotte. I don't know if it was supposed to be in the morning or my flight leaves at like 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'm not going to be leaving in the afternoon or anything like that. So.
Right.
I just would hate for Adam to spend all that money on tickets and then I can't go because I can't get the day off on Tuesday, so I can't. So
Monday. Let me bring it up here real quick.
Okay.
By the way, if anyone wants to know the score of the, sorry.
What time are you leaving?
My flight leaves at like 10:20 in the morning.
40% chance of rain.
Okay, cool.
Well,
all right. As long as there's no lightning, I think I'm still going to be able to fly.
Yeah.
Okay. Gerald, tell me what's the prediction on Sunday? You said it's 2 inches of rain. Is it supposed to be morning or evening rain?
Okay, well, it's going to start out at 70% at 7.
Okay.
From 7 to 10, it's going to be 70. Then it's going to be 60 at 10. Then 11, it's going to jump back up to 70. So between 60 and 70%.
Pretty high.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
No,
that's not good.
So they might have to postpone the race till Tuesday.
I was going to say, because it sounds like to me if it rains on Monday, even if it doesn't rain on Monday, that track's still got to be cleared of all that rain. So I would say Tuesday would be the day that they would have the 600.
And it normally takes anywhere from, with that much rain, it's probably going to take anywhere from 4 to 6 hours to dry that track completely.
Yeah.
So you're talking, it would have to be dry, Gerald, on what, Monday evening, 4 to 6 hours before they could drop the flag on Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday early afternoon, late afternoon.
Let's say
Okay.
if the rain stops Monday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon,
Okay.
and they
Good
can
luck.
get out there. They can get out there at 4. They may have it done by 6 p.m. They may have it done by 10. They may have it done by midnight.
I would say I think I like your prediction. I think 9 times out of 10 it probably won't be until Tuesday. They'll run it the day after Memorial Day. Like I said, unfortunately, I can't get the day off on Tuesday, or I would, and I would just fly home Tuesday night. But I can't.
Right.
With work, I can't do that.
It depends on what NASCAR race control wants to do. If they think it's going to take too long to completely dry the track Sunday, if it does rain, which with the percentage you can't really. I can sit there and say, yeah, it's going to rain and it don't, or I can sit there and say it's not and it does.
Yeah.
But it's all up to race control.
Yes.
Well, and I know they're not going to put the drivers in danger either. So
No.
they're not going to put the drivers in danger.
Normally, what they do is they look at the radar Sunday morning before the race. And if they say, okay, we got this line of storms moving in, and it's going to be over the track by, let's say the race starts at 4 o'clock, and it's going to be over the track by 3.
Ooh, yeah, not good.
That's only going to leave them that short window to get a couple laps in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then they would have to red flag the race, get the track drivers out there and dry it and try to get it in before another round comes in. So, they may say go ahead and run it Sunday. Then again, they may say, hey, let's hold up and see what the weather does, and let's put this race on a delay.
Yeah. I think the green flag drops at 6, if I read correctly.
6 here our
6
time, yeah.
p.m. You could check, Gerald, at 6 p.m. Eastern time. But I could be wrong. I thought that's what I read online, that the green flag would drop at 6 o'clock EST. So I'm not sure.
Schedule. Okay, here we go.
If not, then I just hang out with Adam for 2 days and come home on Monday. So never met him before, so it'll be kind of cool to go hang out with him for 2 days.
Let's see, Sunday. The green flag drops at, from 12:45 to 1:45. They're going to have Eric Jones appear at race day.
Okay.
Then 1 to 7 is the credential office open gate ticket. So yeah, it looks like it's going to drop around. Yeah, it's going. The Coca-Cola 600, the checker flag is going to drop at 6 p.m.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So the race will start at 6 if weather permit.
Yeah, and that's going to be a long race. So I'm saying it should be over probably no later than midnight.
Yeah.
Here, yeah. Sunday's a big race day, because you got Formula One. That's breakfast. Lunch or brunch, I should say, is Indy 500. And the Coca-Cola 600 is 6 o'clock. Personally, I prefer Pepsi Cola, but they don't have a race for that yet. Why not? I have no idea.
Well, then, you know what? I can wake up Sunday morning with Adam, have breakfast, and watch the Formula One, which I got up last year to watch. Got up, turned on ESPN, and they're in a rain delay. In a rain delay in Monaco. And I'm like, you sons of bitches. I get up early to watch the F1 race, and I was going to do the same thing you guys. And I'm like, you know what? These guys watch motorsports. I'm taking one day out of my life. I'm going to watch F1, watch Indianapolis 500, and watch the NASCAR race. And got up. All right, you know what? Heck with it. F1, messed the whole day up for me. So if anything, I'm going to meet Adam. It'll be cool, and I'll get to maybe watch a couple races with him. If it's a rainy day, we hang around the hotel or go to a sports bar and watch it. So I'm looking forward to meeting him. I got to meet Alex a couple weeks ago. So that was cool.
You need to come down here. You need to come down here and meet me.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Gerald, either that or we all meet in Daytona in 2025. So
I don't fly.
Well, let me ask you a question. If somebody gave you medication and alcohol, would you fly? Would that help? Would that help?
Yes.
He's thinking about it, Lou. He's thinking about it.
Do 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 do.
Do, do. No, he's done. Okay. I mean, hey.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
What kind of alcohol it is?
Well, I mean, you just don't get too loaded, but I mean, you could take Xanax or something before you get on the plane and calm down. It'd only be a 2.5 hour flight from Texas to Daytona. It wouldn't be that long. You're not flying across the country.
Up from here, from where you are to where I am.
Yeah.
What was the pilot?
Yep. Well, Lou, it's what is it? Is it like 3 hours from Jersey to Florida? Like a 3-hour flight?
From you,
better than that, you can fly down here next year and meet me and Adam here in Austin and go to the Dakota race with us.
Yeah.
I might end up doing that since I'm probably not going to see a NASCAR race this year.
However, there is a chance I might come to Florida sometime this year. So
let me know, Lou.
Oh wait, I might be down closer to Miami though. Unless you can get down to Miami,
Ooh, that's South Florida. Okay,
but
that's a 5-hour drive from me.
Can Austin handle 3 of us on the loose?
No. I think
if I'm going to Austin, I have to go to UT. I have to.
That's not a big deal. I can take you down there and show you around the campus.
Can I wear Oklahoma Sooner colors? Would that be okay?
If you want to get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
Is that okay if I wear the OU on my hat and wear the
if
white?
They throw you out. Don't say I didn't tell you so.
Be prepared to fight for your life because I'm going to back out and say, hey.
No, I wouldn't do that. I would.
I told him not to wear stuff down here.
I wouldn't do that. I know better. I know better than that.
Well,
that would be. That's a death wish.
I was working with my cousin.
Well, I have a death wish.
And I had to work that morning, not realizing, deliveries take you all over the place.
Yes.
So we get there, he comes out, and he starts laughing. I go, "What's so funny?" He goes, "We got a delivery up to A&M up in College Station."
Ooh, okay.
I looked down and guess what I was dressed in?
UT.
My UT gear, the UT shirt with the hat, and going up to A&M at that time, and they were one of our biggest rivals.
They will be this year or next year this year coming up.
Yes,
Texas comes into the SEC.
Going up to Aggie Land, representing the burnt orange. I was just asking for a bath whooping.
Well, Gerald, how far is College Station from Austin?
About an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Oh, I don't live in Texas. I'm sure that isn't too much of a drive. 2-hour drive. Okay, so that's like going from here to Orlando for me.
Mm-hmm.
Give or take traffic. Downtown Orlando that's about 2 hours from me.
Because once you the way you get there is you go down 290, cut through Bastrop, then hit Highway 79, which will take you through Caldwell, Bertram. Then after you go through Bertram, you up at Kyle Field.
Okay. Yeah, I think I looked at I have the Gators schedule. They don't play Texas or Oklahoma this year. So I'm assuming next year when the schedule comes out in 2024, either one or both of them will be on the schedule because I think it's going to get to the point where you're going to play every team in the conference. Well, I think that's how.
Aren't you a Gator fan?
I am.
Yes.
I am.
We ain't gonna be friends that week, Brad.
Oh.
Yeah, I am. I've been a Gator fan since I was a little boy. My late uncle, and now, I'm blue and orange here and green and gold on the other side because I write about USF. So I've been kind of become a fan of USF because I've been able to cover the team the last 5 years. So
I don't know if it was this off season or if it's going to be next off season, but they're getting ready to do another $40 to $50 million renovation to DKR to get it ready for the SEC.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, the SEC went out and got 2 big schools from the Big 12. I don't think Jeff. I think it's Jeff. I forget the SEC commissioner's name. But yeah, he's not. I mean, I heard that if Notre Dame goes to the Big 10 and they bring that huge TV deal with NBC, the SEC is going to get Clemson, Florida State, and Miami from the ACC. They'll just roll out the red carpet and say, you boys want to come play here, play in the SEC. You're going to be joining the likes of Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma, teams like that. And, I mean, there are teams – I mean, the SEC is going to be a little bit different this year. Tennessee might be on a down year this year. Florida's still got to find their –
Let me ask you a question, Brad.
What's up?
How well do you think Texas can do in the SEC?
Well, I think the first couple years
Alabama,
it's going to be
Georgia,
Alabama to me, Gerald, honestly, I think is starting the downward. I think they were up top for so long. Yes. I think Kirby Smart at Georgia figured out how to beat them. And there's been some upsets. Be honest with you, don't be surprised if Ole Miss isn't at the top of the SEC West this year. They're a good football team. Mississippi State
will go into an SEC, the West, East, or North.
Well, the way that it's set up now, it's East and West. I would not be surprised if they don't put Oklahoma in the West and they stick Texas in the East because of the way that it's geographically fixed, because Oklahoma would be the furthest team out of anybody.
Yes.
I think. Well, College Station's out there, so it would be between A&M. That's why I think Oklahoma will be in the West.
Where does Texas play in the East?
Well, the East right now is Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Missouri. I think that's it. Maybe I'm missing somebody. Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Missouri. I think those are the only 6. There might be a 7th team. So I think Texas would go in that part of the conference. And then the West is Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, Arkansas, and then I think Oklahoma. I could be wrong. I might be missing somebody. I'm trying to remember all of the SEC teams. I'm trying to remember if they're all there. I know Missouri and Texas A&M are the new team. Oh, it's A&M. They're the Missouri and Texas A&M are the 2 new teams in the SEC. Let me look at that real quick. Make sure I didn't forget any. I don't know if I forgot anybody or not. Let's see. SEC football. Okay. We have – oh, I did. I forgot South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
I did forgot South Carolina. Yep. I forgot. Yeah, the Gamecocks. So you have.
I was thinking that Mac Brown coached South Carolina, but that's North Carolina he coaches.
That's NC. It's Alabama, Mississippi State, LSU, Texas A&M, Auburn, Ole Miss, and Arkansas are the SEC West. The East is Kentucky, Missouri, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, and Florida. That's how it's split now. So I would imagine
Vanderbilt.
I would imagine, Gerald, that when if they still have the conferences and stuff, I would imagine that they would
put us in the East.
Yes, and put Oklahoma in the West. I'm not sure who this is, but we will try to do that. I don't know who this is.
Thank you.
Can somebody tell me who that is?
I can go look. Let me go look real quick.
How can you tell?
Well, we've told the people that comment on here to please make sure that we please make sure that you put your name so we can obviously whether you make a positive comment or you call us all, you know, losers or what whatever. If you want to make it.
Jennifer Madison.
Oh, that's my friend. That's my friend. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. But yeah, Joe, I think 9 times out of 10, if they keep the East-West dynamic, which they may not, they may scrap that completely and then make up a new way. But I can see, first of all, we all know there's still going to be a Texas-Oklahoma game. That's not going to go away. Even though they're in the SEC, that's one of the biggest college football games every year.
You got to keep the
Well, we were just talking about, you know, Yale and Harvard, Army, Navy, Florida, Georgia. I mean, Auburn, Alabama. You go down the list of rivalries, Ohio State, Michigan, one of the biggest in the sport. That game will still be on. The SEC is going to, I can guarantee you, going to just love the TV rights they're going to get from just those two coming into next year. Because correct me if I'm wrong, did they come over this year, or is it next year that they're starting in the conference? Is it 2024? I think it's 2024 that they're supposed to come into the conference.
I think the contract with the UT with the Longhorn Network, I think that ends at the end of 2024.
End of 2024. Okay.
Right. So we got a way to go yet.
What now, Joe? Correct me if I'm wrong. Does UT have their own TV network?
Yes.
Don't they have their own TV network?
Yes, it's called the Longhorn Network. But now, with us going to the SEC, I heard rumors that the Longhorn Network may go away.
Okay.
Probably will.
Okay. SEC will buy out the rights to that then?
No.
I'd imagine.
No.
No.
The contract ends. You see?
Oh, okay. So the contract. Okay, I got you.
Athletic department has a contract with ESPN, which ESPN runs the Longhorn Network.
Okay.
They have a contract with ESPN to run the Longhorn Network, and that contract ends sometime in 2024.
Gotcha. So then the first season.
So when SEC
and I received that too.
So when SEC invited Texas to come over to the SEC division, that's when UT told ESPN we're not renewing the contract.
So it must be the first season in 2024. They'll still be on the Longhorn Network. It'll be the last year. So the first year in the SEC. Then after that, they cut it off because I think ESPN. Because now CBS airs the Big Ten. So ESPN, I think, is the SEC. I think the SEC is now on ESPN now. I could be wrong.
Not necessarily, because a lot of SEC games are being played on CBS.
Well, CBS took over the Big Ten now, so I don't know.
That leaves ABC to pick up some of the SEC games too.
Hey, PBS, you want in the deal too?
Or Fox. Fox too.
Well, Fox does a lot of Big 12 games.
They do. Fox has a lot of Big 12.
How about the
and
CW?
NBC is strictly Notre Dame. They have they more than Notre Dame, but that most of their games are Notre Dame related. You know what I mean?
So
for the CW,
SEC could because the
CW, that's Live. Live Golf's on CW.
Has their own network.
Right.
Yes, the SEC has their own network. That is correct.
Yes.
So they could keep with the SEC network.
I honestly, when they announced UT and Oklahoma coming over, I was excited because I know what rivalry those you guys have with the Sooners, and I was excited. I'm like, wow, okay, cool. Now we're gonna see two of the dominant teams. Oh, absolutely, two of the dominant teams in the Big 12 leave the conference, come to the SEC. How I think Texas and Oklahoma will do. the first year it's going to be interesting because again, you're coming into a different style of football.
They got to fill the water out. They got to test it.
Correct. So, yeah,
I say within 3 years after they come into the SEC, Texas and Oklahoma can make some noise.
I would say maybe even year 2, because it depends on, because remember, you guys got Manning. So if Arch does I mean, I know he's not going to probably start this year. I've talked to a friend of mine.
Coach Sarkisian already said that Quinn's going to get the starting job.
Yeah, I have another buddy of mine, Gerald, who's actually from Austin, big UT guy. I just met him. He actually watches our show every week. Bobby, if he's watching the show, he'll know who I'm talking about. But that's what he told me too. He said that he doesn't believe that Arch will start this year, that it'll be Evers will get the start.
Now, if Texas runs up the score, let's say if they run it up like 45 to 17, 45 to 20, watch for him to start pulling the starters and putting the backups in, which would be Manning. Let Manning get some playing time, but Quinn is going to be the starter.
As it should be, because he was the starter last year.
And I guarantee you this right now, and all the Alabama fans that are watching can say I'm wrong, I'm a hater, but I don't care. The reason why Alabama won that game is because they knocked Quinn out. If Quinn stayed in that game,
that was a good game.
We would have beat Bama.
That was a good football game. I mean, yes, even though you guys lost, Gerald, I think it kind of showed how strong UT can be or is as of right now, and how Alabama has weaknesses. And like I said, that's why I believe their time in the SEC is the window's starting to close.
Yes.
On Alabama.
And mark my words, within the next 2 years, they're going to be looking to get rid of Nick Saban.
If he doesn't retire. And Nick, he's getting old. I think he'll retire before they fire him. I really do. That's just my opinion. I know Nick's got a huge ego. I know. I'm well aware of Nick Saban,
but Coach Sarkisian showed Nick Saban something in that game. Look what I learned. Look what I learned from being under you.
Correct.
Look what I can do.
Yes.
Kirby Smart did the same thing in Georgia. So there you go. Yeah. So
I guarantee you this year we play Alabama in what they call preseason.
Okay. Week 0.
Yeah, week 0 in Tuscaloosa.
Okay.
Tuscaloosa. You watch. If they don't knock Quinn out, we're gonna come out of there with a win.
I wouldn't say otherwise. I totally agree with that. I think Alabama's years of dominance where they were, winning every game, they were undefeated, I think is coming to an end.
And
I really honestly can say I think it's coming to an end.
The reason why they also beat us in Austin is because they had Bryce Young.
Correct.
Now they don't have Bryce Young.
Nope. Now he's with the Carolina Panthers.
They don't have that receiving core they did last year.
Now they're going to have – it's going to be – that's why a lot of people too, Gerald, are saying that Georgia's going to have a down year too because they lost a lot of players to the draft. And all right, so here we are. Alabama's schedule for 2023. They start on September 2nd against Middle Tennessee. They're home against Texas. And then guess where they come on September 16th? To Tampa, Florida, to play USF.
Okay.
Yes, I'll be at that game. But yes. Yeah. They play Ole Miss. That's going to be a good game right there, right off the bat. Their first SEC game is Ole Miss, then at Mississippi State, at Texas A&M, home against Arkansas and Tennessee. They have a bye week. Home against LSU, at Kentucky, home against Chattanooga, and then they're on the road in the Iron Bowl against Auburn. That's not an easy schedule. I don't think that's an easy schedule for Alabama. I could see a few losses. I mean, I could see them losing to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
That's just me. I could see them losing to Ole Miss right off the bat, week 3. They're gonna roll USF. I know that. I trust me. I know. I would like to see USF score 3 touchdowns, just 3, 2 maybe at the most. Just hope they can get some kind of score on the board. It would be great to see them upset Alabama, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Stranger things have happened.
Well, hey, I mean, Appalachian State beat Michigan, so you never know. You never know. You never know.
And right now, Boston's beating up in Miami.
Oh, no, they're going to extend the series again? Oh, no.
Yep, 49-36 right now.
I hope Miami doesn't blow that 3-0 lead in the series.
Yeah.
I would hate to see that happen, that they went up 3-0 and they let Boston come back and win.
Hey, look, if the Red Sox can do it, I guess the Celtics can do it too.
Oh, the Red Sox are on a 3-game losing streak. They just got swept by the Angels. They got to bye, and now they're playing Arizona in Arizona, and that's not going to be easy either because the Diamondbacks are a pretty good baseball team.
Yeah, I got a bunch of those cactuses too.
Yeah. 1-1 in the NHL between Vegas and Dallas. If Vegas wins, they'll play the almighty, surprising Florida Panthers. As somebody wrote today in the Reddit page for the Lightning, little brother is in the Stanley Cup Finals. Little brother is in the Stanley Cup Finals. But we all know what happened the last time the Panthers got to the Stanley Cup Finals. Oh, that's right. They got swept.
They got swept by the Avalanche in a game that took forever.
By the Avalanche. So
game that went 3 overtimes to win that game.
And isn't it funny how the Avalanche won the Stanley Cup last year and now the Panthers are going this year? So that's interesting. I mean,
just a coincidence.
If the cup comes back to Florida, I mean, if anything, even though I know I'm a Lightning fan, and I know I'm probably going to get a lot of grief for this, if whoever gets to the finals, whether it's Dallas and or Vegas, I'm pulling for the Panthers. I'm sorry, I'm a Florida boy, so I'm pulling for Florida. I'll be pulling for the Panthers.
Not surprised at all.
So, yes, I'm a Lightning fan to the day I die. When we play the Panthers, we don't like them. They don't like us. Go to Sunrise, which is a 4.5-hour drive through Alligator Alley. And if people don't know what Alligator Alley is, it is a stretch of highway where there are no gas stations, billboards, or anything. It is swampland from miles out. And they call it Alligator Alley because full alligators. Correct. Yeah, it's the Everglades. It's the Everglades in South Florida. It is a wildly vast natural area of stuff. So, yes, correct.
Yes, we call it the swamp.
Jimmy Hoffa's buried there, right, Lou? Jimmy Hoffa's buried there, right?
Yes.
They haven't found him yet, so maybe he is there in the Meadowlands. For all we know, I don't know.
Actually, right next to Amelia Earhart too. I don't know. Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
I mean, it's.
But they forgot the luggage. Okay.
Oh, come on, man! I'm flying on an airplane in a couple of days. Don't make any airplane jokes. I'm flying on an airplane in a couple of days.
I'll forget about the food too.
Yeah, well, it's completely changed. That's completely changed.
It's worse.
So completely flights now are not what they used to be. What's he showing me? Oh, okay. He's waving me off. Okay.
Right.
Well, I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Nuggets getting to the NBA Finals? It's their first ever appearance as a franchise. Correct? Have they gone before?
About time. Congratulations to the Nuggets.
It's not time. You're right. Well, you got the Joker. I mean, there's your proof right there. I mean, I think they can beat Miami one time behind his back. So I kind of feel sorry for the Heat right now. Joker is a dangerous weapon for the Nuggets.
Well, it seems like that team is coming together. Obviously, Joker in the middle there, but everybody seems to be scoring when they need scorers. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Denver doesn't win it in the overall. The funny thing is, I think the NBA wanted LA versus Boston because of the rivalry between those two, and they're going to get Miami and Denver. So,
right.
That's not really what the NBA wanted. I think it's same thing in the NHL. I think everybody wanted to see, Carolina and Vegas or Carolina and, whatever.
Actually, they want, Vegas and Seattle. Well,
see, honestly, Lou, I was kind of hoping that Vegas and Seattle would be in the Western Conference Finals. I was kind of hoping that was going to happen. The two newest franchises going against each other, and maybe how about Florida Seattle Stanley Cup final? That would be interesting.
Well, I think I wanted Boston because everybody was taking Boston.
The Bruins, right?
And then all of a sudden, in the last minute of regulation, they blew it, and then after that, just like that, ultimate choke city.
Oh well, I think the biggest choke of the year has to be them. But then again, it happened to the Lightning too in 2019 or 2019 was that? Yeah. 2019. Yes. Yeah, when we lost to the Blue Jackets. We won all those games, during the regular season, had the most points, won the President's Trophy. We're supposed to steamroll through the playoffs, get to the Stanley Cup. We get swept in the first round.
And then the curse of the President's Trophy took it in.
Well, who was the last President's Trophy team to win the Stanley Cup? It's got to be a long time ago, right?
Yeah. There hasn't been that many.
Let me see something real quick. Let me ask Google real quick. Who was the last team to win President's Trophy and Stanley Cup? Here we go. It was the 2012-2013 Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
They were the last team to win both the President's Trophy and Stanley Cup in the same season when they beat the Bruins in 6 games in the Cup final. So 2012, that's 11 years ago since a team has won the President's Trophy and then went on to win the Stanley Cup overall.
But this was a history-making season. They broke the record by Montreal, 76-77. And, it was a sure thing. But then again, they had, Bergeron injured and a few others, and I think that might have took its toll on them. Allmark was injured too. So they were really becoming a banged-up unit when the postseason began.
Yeah, it was my laptop.
Well, what I find funny, Lou, too, is Bruce Cassidy, who was the head coach of Boston, got fired. He's coaching Vegas. He's got them one win away from being in the Stanley Cup Finals. And he can laugh at them saying, oh, well, look, you gave me up. You guys won the most games, and then you fell apart in the first round, and now I might have a chance to go win a Stanley Cup with Vegas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you all.
Yeah. And to all, a good night. But, it's
good night.
If Vegas gets to the finals against the Panthers, I think that'll be a pretty good Stanley Cup final. I think both those teams are evenly matched. I think Florida's been one of those teams like no one thinks they were ever going to get here. They were the 8th seed in the East.
Not at all.
They were the last seed in the East. So why not?
Game was unreal. 47 seconds left in the game. Score is tied. So okay, we're going to overtime. Let's see how long this is going to go. Surprise, surprise. 4.5 seconds left to go. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Yep.
This is the sickest thing I've ever seen.
Well, they won what? They won
in 2011.
Did they won 3 games in overtime, right? Florida did? Didn't the first 3 games all go to OT? So this one would have gone to OT too had they not scored with 4.5 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, because they just scored the time. I just give the tying goal 45 seconds left in the period. So you thought for sure it was for overtime, and then, well, what do we have here?
Yeah, exactly.
What? That can't happen, especially in the playoffs. That doesn't happen in the playoffs.
Exactly. Exactly.
Especially in the last minute of a regulation game in the playoffs. Like, this can't be happening. Of course,
Well, I mean, at least for them, Lou, they did it at home. They were in Sunrise when it happened. So
but then they were thinking, wait a second, about this goal here. Guard check. Let's see.
Oh yeah, they were gonna make.
We're not going through that again. No, we're not going 4 times this time.
They were gonna make sure that there was a goal before they called it one, and and it's just one of those. Yeah.
We're not going to 3 this time, guys. I thought the game was over in game 1 because I was flipping ESPN after watching something else, and it looked like the game was over. Okay, so I put in the score and said goodnight. Did I know? I wake up next morning, I turn on ESPN like, wait a minute, what did I miss here? The game was over. Like, it went to 4. I was like, huh? What? How's that possible? So then I went to, I turned on Sports Center, and it's like, buddy, your skate was in the crease. Oh, we're back to that old thing again? Come on.
Yep.
Hey, Brett Hull, where are you?
Well, one of the goals, I think, I'm trying to remember, was it Florida Carolina in game 1? Where it was one of those games where there was a goal called again. Maybe it was the Boston series, where it looked like the goal crossed the red line, but then after they reviewed it, it looked like it crossed after the whistle was blown. So they said no goal. So who's that?
Vegas just took the lead.
Vegas is up 2-1.
Marshall scored the goal.
That's in the second period, right?
Yep.
Okay, so they still got a whole
Now, you guys probably can't see it, but what I have here, because this is of course big this time of year. I got you guys on here. I have the hockey game on the big set over here, and on my second computer, voila,
NBA.
So you can see.
That's cool, Lou.
I was not going to miss this. I was not going to miss this show, but I was not going to miss these games either. I'm like, come on, this is big stuff now. This is the time of year where
it's exciting.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you think about it, the NBA and the NHL are in their playoffs, close to the championship round.
Yeah.
Baseball is kind of in the middle of the year. You're not really, unless you're a diehard fan, you're not really paying too close attention to it. Football's in OTAs, you don't care unless somebody gets hurt or unless there's a big story. Like the Patriots.
Well, got today. Never mind. Never mind.
Well, who won the XFL this year? Who won the championship?
I think it was Arlington, and they did.
Yeah, I think it was Arlington that won.
And they did with a losing record in the regular season.
Yeah, and they won the championship. There you go. Perfect, right? That's perfect. That's the way it works out, right? It works out that a team with a losing record, that would be like the Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl last year. 8-9 season, they get all the way to the big game and win. You
guys remember though, you have a small, number of teams in this league. There's only like 8 teams.
True.
So chances are you're gonna have a division, with a team that sucks, and basically that's what happened.
Well, I know the team Tampa moved to Orlando. They're the Orlando Vipers now, or what do they call them? Or Renegades, or whatever they call themselves now.
The Vipers.
Vipers, okay. Yeah, I covered the Vipers the first year of the XFL until COVID shut everything down. So that was my one and only experience.
XFL Part 2.
Yes, correct. This is owned by Dwayne Johnson's. Yes.
This time it's going to last. It's going to last past a full season.
Well, I mean, if the USFL is coming back for a second season, so.
Well, this is. I don't know if they'll come back for a third season, but they're in the second season now.
Okay.
I would not be surprised, though, if the leagues do merge before 2024 gets here. I wouldn't be surprised.
Lou, would not be surprised either. I agree with you on that. I think that's a good question.
UXSFL or the XXUFL or whatever the case may be, it's going to be very complicated.
The UXFL or
UXFL.
It would be interesting.
Not to be confused with the UFL from in 2007 and 2008.
Oof.
We'll forget that.
Oof, that was ugly. That was ugly.
Yeah, at least you know. At least some of the other who knew it existed. At least you know
Yeah.
it did.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I knew. It lasted
Yeah.
what? They didn't even finish a full season, did they?
Actually, a season and a half.
Okay, season. Okay, they did
Yeah,
get
it
through
lasted-
one season.
It lasted
Okay.
just as long as the WLAF from 74-75.
Gotcha.
Speaking of ugly, of course,
Yeah.
or just as ugly as the first rendition of the World League. Oh no. But and the sad thing is that New Jersey had a team as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of, not
No.
to change topics, but did Manchester City won the Premier League championship? Is that right? Again?
Yes. Again.
How many have they won in a row? Haven't they won?
I've lost count. I've
Wow.
lost count. That's the king of soccer. That's the kings of Premier Soccer, though.
Because weren't they like the redheaded stepchild in Manchester? Wasn't Manchester United supposed to be the premier team?
Yeah.
Manchester City was the Mets to the Yankees, the White Sox to the Cubs.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like that type
Put it
of
that way, yes. Or
little brother.
or the Knicks with the Nets, because the Nets were considered the ugly stepchild.
There you go.
And
See,
so
there
on.
you go.
So
There
on.
you go. There you go. There you go.
It's like you.
Guys, we're gonna have a guest on next week
Oh, yeah.
that wrote a book about the nightmares of being a Special Olympics athlete. So just be prepared. He is going to absolutely bash that organization. It's going to happen. But I just want to let you guys know, just for worth, you don't have to believe anything he says. He met me through LinkedIn. I'm going to have him come on next week. I gave him the floor to talk about his book. But I just want to leave that out there that he's going to bash that organization. So
Wow.
I've talked to Ralph. He said, nope. He goes, have him come on. It's an amendment one, right to freedom of speech. So I'm gonna let him come on. I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and he mentioned to me something about, look at Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has people on his show that have different opinions on things.
Right.
He likes to have those people come on, and it's nice to have an outside perspective. I don't have any inclination with the Special Olympics. I don't hate the organization. I don't have anything to do with them. I know that they've done great for a lot of people, but for him, they've used his image and his likeness. He's not made any money. So he's, and I agree with him. Hey, you know what? You busted your ass for many years. You won medals, and they don't want to help you. Now he's coming on. He's coming on to talk about his book. That's next week. So I just want to forewarn you guys that he's coming on here. It'll probably be towards the end of the show. He's also in Texas, where Gerald is at. I think he's in Houston. I think is where he's located. But I just want to warn you guys about that. So I'll talk to Adam when I see him over the weekend. I'll mention that to him. I'm not afraid of it. If he wants to call out, though, that's fine with me, because again, we all have a right to give our opinion. So that is that. So I just want to fair warn you guys ahead of time. He's really a nice guy. I talked to him on the phone on Tuesday. Well, actually not Tuesday, Monday, before I went to the Rays game, when they beat the Blue Jays. And then the next night they got beat 20-1 by the Blue Jays. But I was there the night before when they won 6-4. Yeah, he's really a nice guy. So he'll be on next week. If you read the bottom of the banner thing, it will remind you that he will be on here next week. So I'll send him the link. He'll be coming on. So fair warn you, he may say some things you guys don't agree with, and that's okay if you don't. I'm not going to punish anybody. You guys all have an opinion. You have my backing. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus. That's not right. I love you guys. And everyone should have a right to their opinion. So he's going to say things, and you may say, hey, you know what? I don't agree with that, but let him have his talk, and that's what I'm going to do next week.
All right.
Let him have his time to talk. So,
all right.
So that will be that. Just wanted to fair warn you guys about that. Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Okay. What else is going on other than the NBA, NHL going on?
Have you been following college baseball because the tournaments are coming up?
That and isn't softball too, right? I think college softball is getting ready to get into their championship too.
I think it's already happening because I think that happens first before the College Baseball World Series and all that.
Okay.
At least I think so. Yeah. Because the conference tournaments starting tomorrow are going on right now, and I think the 64 draw is Memorial Day weekend. Well, it was last year. That I know.
Where they play in where does college baseball play their World Series?
Oklahoma.
That's right. That's right.
Omaha.
That is correct. That's right. And then
Omaha. Oh no.
Omaha. That's right. And then the Little League World Series is in Pennsylvania, right?
Williamsport.
Little League World Series is in Pennsylvania. And then where do they play softball at? Is it just wherever?
Yeah, I don't think there's an official site for
it. So here, Lou, I'm going to click on this. Here's bracket predictions for the world, the college baseball. This is D1. This is D1 baseball. Let me see how they have the brackets set up. How they have the brackets. How they have it posted up. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so here are the last 5 in, the last 5 out. It says these are actually, there's only 4 teams. It's UC Irvine, Oklahoma, Arizona State, TCU in. I'm sorry. Yeah. Then Texas State, Georgia Tech, Rutgers, Louisiana would be 65 through 68. So
I gotta make a quick phone call, so I'll be right back.
Okay. It looks like the Winston-Salem region will be Wake Forest. Obviously, that's their home. Connecticut, UC Irvine, Maine. Fayetteville will be Arkansas, Texas, Oral Roberts. Whoops. Of course I have it. Hang on a second. Let me kill that ad.
Did I just say 7?
Okay. Yes, you did say
7. You have Arkansas, Texas, Oral Roberts, Little Rock, and Fayetteville. Gainesville region would be the Gators, Oregon, Troy, Alabama State. Baton Rouge, LSU, Southern Miss, Oklahoma, Nichols, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I think it's Nichols.
The Stanford region would be Stanford, BC, Boston College, UC Santa Barbara, and Loyola Marymount. Morgantown, obviously, West Virginia, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Rider. Never heard of Rider before. That's an interesting name for university.
That's close to my area.
Okay. Then it's Clemson, Campbell, Texas Tech, Davidson. Then Vandy, Indiana, Arizona State, Kent State. Virginia, East Carolina, Northwestern, Penn. Kentucky, Indiana State, Iowa, Wright State, and Lexington. In Columbia, South Carolina, you have the Gamecocks, the Tar Heels, Southern California, and Central Connecticut State. Conway would be Coastal Carolina, Auburn, TCU, and Mercer. Coral Gables, that's south of me, would be Miami, Washington, Florida Gulf Coast, and Army. Stillwater region would be Oklahoma State, Dallas Baptist, Texas A&M, Sam Houston. Durham would be the Duke Blue Devils, Alabama, Kansas State, UNC, Wilmington. and in Corvallis, Oregon State, Maryland, Cal State Fullerton, and Air Force. So those are their predictions. Again, I'm assuming they're going by conference champions and stuff. I would assume, Lou, with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would assume it would be conference champions.
Rutgers is borderline. Yeah. And what Vandy can't do in football, they make up in baseball. Because Vandy in football, forget it.
Well, also, too, I think Vandy's a pretty good basketball team, too, in the SEC when it comes to college basketball. They have the court where the players sit, and you can see eye level with the floor. It's one of those weird stadium designs.
Yeah. So is Oakland.
Yes, correct.
That's
I mean, who Lou are you pulling for to win it all in Omaha?
That's a tough one. Yeah. I'll find out when the official
64 come out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't forget, we don't get a chance to follow much college baseball around this area here. It's mostly towards the southern and western parts of the country. Here, it only makes the back page of the sports section. And I mean the very back of the sports section.
You guys are more popular for like lacrosse, right? Isn't lacrosse big in your area? College lacrosse?
In the Northeast, yes. In New Jersey,
Okay.
It's an acquired taste. But college baseball gets on the very last page of the sports section. It's like college baseball. Nah, we don't really care about that. So we're like, what the hell is that? You mean college is baseball too? Well, how else do you think they get into the pros, dummy?
Yeah, that is true. They have a
college basketball, college hockey. No, that's up further north.
Yes, correct.
In Vermont and all that.
Maine, Boston University, Dakota. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Here, no. We concentrate on college sports. We concentrate on football and basketball. Sometimes dodgeball, but never mind.
I wouldn't be surprised in all reality if someday there is dodgeball as a college sport. I mean, that would be cool. I played dodgeball when I was in
house snapping in college sports, so why not?
Right, exactly. Well, if breakdancing is a Olympic event, come on now.
Oh, come on.
It is. I swear, you can look at it. Summer Games, that is a freaking event. And old school Roman Greco wrestling, which is one of the original events when the Olympics were created in Greece, is not an event anymore. So you tell me what's wrong with that picture, because I'm curious.
Oh, where do I begin?
Because I'm curious.
How about wrestling breakdancing style? First, you go and get body slam, then you body slam. Why not?
Hey, you know what? Why not?
Full contact breakdancing.
Why not? I mean, I don't get who in the Olympics, I don't, that's who makes these decisions within the Olympic Committee.
That's why.
Because let's see, don't we have games in 2024? Won't there be?
Yes.
Is it summer or a winter, or is it both?
Summer. It's
summer games. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Winter's 2026.
Got you. Okay. So there's still a couple more. We still got another 3 years before we'll see the winter games again.
Yes.
Which I think, for me, for the winter games, it's just hockey and curling are the two events I watch when it comes to the summer games.
Lose over curling any day.
The summer games, it's more volleyball, obviously, women's volleyball.
Swimming, track and field.
Swimming is another one you watch during the summer games.
Oh, yeah. Basketball.
Yeah, basketball is an event. They don't do baseball in the Olympics, right? Is it that
they do?
They do. Okay. They do. Okay. And golf is also in the summer games. I don't know how that fits in, but yes, they do that as well.
Well, as long as DeChambeau and Koepka are not on the same team, we'll be fine.
Well, they were talking about could
Oh.
Koepka be on the U.S. Ryder Cup team because of the Ryder Cups this year.
Yes.
And what's his name? Brandel Champley, who's a Golf Channel analyst, said that he doesn't deserve to be on there. But Brad Faxon fired back and said, well, he is from America. He just did win a major. And just because he plays on the LIV Tour doesn't mean he can't represent his country. Good point.
I agree.
Brad Faxon. Good point.
But do you think, though, that LAV players should be playing in the PGA because it's called the PGA Championship, not the PGA LAV Championship?
Lou, you know what? It's funny that you say that because my brother-in-law said the exact same thing to me. I was coming home from Disney on Sunday. We were listening to the final round on XM radio, and that's what he told me too. He goes, why is it that a LIV player can win the PGA Championship because it's their championship? And I said, I don't know. He was invited because he had previously won. He's won 2 previous. This is his 3rd PGA Championship in his career. So now I think he's probably going to be there for life, whether he's playing on LIV or not. He's exempt to come back. And I think next year it's at Valhalla in Kentucky. So tough golf course in Kentucky.
Sure.
I knew a guy that the golf course I worked at for 13 years that actually didn't live too far from there. And said it's a great golf course. So I've never played there.
I was wondering about what kind of controversy this would cause. You know, I mean, wait, you came here. This is our turf. This is the PGA Championship, not the PGA LAV. What are you doing over here?
Well, I'll say this right now, Lou. If one of the LIV players wins the U.S. Open, you might have a huge controversy.
Hell yeah.
Huge controversy because that's the next major. So we'll see. I'm curious. Let's see. Hang on a second. Where is the Memorial, right? Is it Memorial? 2023.
Do we have that yet already?
Where is the 2023 U.S. Open golf?
That's Father's Day weekend.
Let's see here. June 15th to the 18th.
Like I said, Father's Day weekend.
It will be played at the Los Angeles Country Club in California.
Ooh.
North Course, the field will house 156 players from the PGA Tour, European Tour, and Japanese Golf Tour. I don't know how many LIV players will be in the field. Oh, here we go. Right here. I'm sorry. There will be 8 LIV Tour players in the U.S. Open.
Wow.
So here it is right here. Sergio Garcia among 8 LIV Tour players.
Yeah, the Memorial is June 1st.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Let's see who
Or as we
else.
say, golf's 5th major.
Garcia was among close to 20 LIV golf players entered in qualifiers aiming to make the 156-man field at Los Angeles Country Club. Carson Young won the Dallas qualifier. Austin Eckroat won. It was second and 11 under par. The 2010 U.S. Open champion Graham McDowell, who's also on LIV, fell short by a shot at 7 under par. Okay, the article didn't tell me who the other guys were. Okay, so it looks like there's a couple LIV players in the field. Let's see here. See if this will tell me how many LIV players are in the field. There we go, LIV players. There are 12 golfers that qualified for the U.S. Open. Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, Martin Keimer, Phil Mickelson, Cameron Smith, Joaquin Niemann, Abraham Answer, Thomas Peters, Mitro Pierre, Sergio Garcia, and Patrick Reed are among the 12 that made it to the U.S. qualified for the U.S. Open or have exemptions for the U.S. Open. So let's see here. 33. Now it's 33 players who earned exemptions. Top 5 players. Hayden Buckley, Hugh Taylor, Montgomery, Andrew Putnam, Nick Taylor, in addition to 2 top players, Thurston Lawrence and Jordan Smith. Okay. Tiger Woods officially withdrew as an exempt player. So additionally, John Rahm, the defending champion, Brooks Koepka, and world number 3 Rory McIlroy are in the field, along with 10 former U.S. Open champions. Here are the 84 so far that have qualified. Answer, K.H. Lee. Sam Bennett is an amateur. Minwoo Lee, Keegan Bradley, Shane Lowry, Hayden Buckley, Deki Matsuyama, Sam Burns, Denny McCarthy, Patrick Cantlay, Matthew McLean, and Ben Carr are both amateurs. Rory McIlroy, Wyndham Clark, Adrian Murnock, Corey Connor, Bill Mickelson, Joel Demon, Keith Mitchell, Cameron Davis, Francisco Molinari, Jason Day. Jason Day won a couple weeks ago. I think the week before the PGA Tour or PGA Championship, excuse me. Taylor Montgomery, Bryson DeChambeau, Taylor Moore, Wayne Ding. He's an amateur. Colin Morikawa. I like Colin a lot. He's one of my favorite tour players right now. Harris English, Joaquin Neiman, Monto Fernandez de Oliveira, Alex Noren, Tony Finau, Mino Pereira, Matt Fitzpatrick, Victor Perez, Tommy Fleetwood, Thomas Peters, Ryan Fox, JT Polson, Ricky Fowler, Aldridge Portugal, Adam Hadwin, Seamus Power, Brian Harmon, Andrew Putnam, Patrick Herring, John Taylor Hatton, Patrick Reed, Russell Henley, Lucas Herbert, Xander Shaw, Tom Hoke, Scotty Scheffler, Max Homa, Adam Scott, Bill Horschel, Cameron Smith, Victor Hovland, Jordan Smith, Mackenzie Hughes, Jordan Spieth. And I'm not going to go through all of these. I'll just go through the big names: Justin Thomas, Brooks Koepka, Matt Kuchar, and Cameron Young round out the field. But yeah, so yeah, there's 12 live players in the field. And if somehow, some way, one of them wins the U.S. Open, the PGA Tour is in some trouble.
Oh yeah, if they're not in trouble already.
Because you had a live player finish second at the Masters in Phil Mickelson, and Brooks Koepka, I think, finished in the top 5. They won the PGA Championship, and if they win the U.S. Open, that's not going to look good for them. So John Rahm and Justin Thomas and Tony Finau and Jordan Spieth, guys like that, got to step up and win at Los Angeles Country Club in about a month from now. So yeah.
I mentioned the Memorials on June 1st to the 4th.
So a couple weeks prior to the U.S. Open,
or as golf purists would say, the 5th major.
That's Jack's tournament, correct? That's in Ohio, correct?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, that's
Ohio.
in Ohio. Yeah. Yeah, they're. I mean, I know they've been talking about. Adding a 5th major to the to that. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I think they do call it the 5th major, the Memorial.
Oh, do they? Okay, so that's the 5th major. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they call it. If you want to add a 6th, they can call it the Players Championship. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say TPC at Sawgrass is one of those higher tournaments that everybody looks forward to.
Right.
Every year, which that's a golf course that I can play on. So that is public play at Sawgrass in Ponte Verde, which is on the east coast of Florida. I'm on the west coast of Florida, so I'm the East Coast is where Ponte Verde is. It's kind of near Daytona Beach, where the NASCAR race is at. Near St. Augustine and stuff like that. I believe St. Augustine might be the oldest city in the United States. I could be wrong. I think it's one of the oldest. If not, it's one of the oldest in the country. But yeah. PGA Tour will be in some deep trouble if a live player wins back-to-back majors.
We'll never hear the end of
it. They win back-to-back.
Let's put it this way. I guess here now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you saw the trophy presentation, it was kind of awkward. A PGA commissioner was handing the Wanamaker trophy over to a live player. So
yeah, it's like
honestly, I'm kind of hoping maybe in the future the two tours can just merge together and be at that instead of being rivals. Just merge it together and let the guys play on whatever tour they want to play on. If they want to be part of Live, they don't have to be on that PGA Tour schedule. If you choose to be on the PGA Tour, then you got to, you show up to when you show up. But yeah. So I don't, I'm curious, Lou, how that's all going to get worked out. But I can see in the next 5 years, either the Live Tour is going to disappear or they're going to merge. I don't think the PGA Tour is going to go away. It's been around.
I see a merger here. Boy, a lot of merging going on. First, it's going to be the UXFL or whatever they're going to call it. Now they're going to call it the – what do you call it, though? The PGA Live
I don't know. That's a good question. The
P-Live Tour.
P-Live Tour. The P-Live Tour.
Yuck.
Well, you have the minor tours called the Corn Ferry Tour on the PGA.
I've heard of that.
The minor league. Shouldn't say the minors. That's the guys that are trying to get their PGA Tour card. If they win a certain amount of tournaments, they do get the PGA Tour card at the end of the season. Yeah. So instead of going through qualifying school, you can go play on the Corn Ferry Tour and gain experience to get to the PGA Tour. Kind of like AAA in baseball. You're just waiting for the spot to open up. So, yeah.
AAA golf. Okay.
Yeah, you could say that AAA golf or like the AHL and with the NHL. You're like right there where you can be called up to. Obviously they can't call you up on golf, but you have to earn your way up. But
well,
very similar. Very similar. Well, guys, I mean, we got a couple minutes left. If you guys want to fire shows, promote your show, go right ahead. I'll leave the floor open.
As soon as I make it to Saturday from this performance, the Enhanced Sports Show will be on. Yes, we will be on this weekend. What better way to kick off summer than the show itself? We're on 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, as always. Number to call, 512-543-4662. You bet we'll be covering the NHL, NBA playoffs, whether it's in the conference finals or discussing the finals. We'll also take a look at recaps of the Preakness and the PGA, or we want to call it these days anymore, the PGA golf tournament. We'll also take a look at the WNBA, which has started its new season, MLB. We'll also, of course, take a look at, of course, UFC, WWE, and I got to think some few boxing notes here and there because there is a big fight that's going to be scheduled for this summer, and you boxing fans who are diehard fans, I think you know what I'm talking about. But I'll explain it Saturday. Sorry. So if you got time on Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m., 3 to 5 where you are, Gerald. 4 to 6, I think where you are. I think you're not that hour time difference, right? Wait, Bradley, are you the hour time difference ahead of me or no?
No, I'm same as you, Lou. I'm on the same time frame you are.
Okay, good. I always get that mixed up. So
I think Gerald's on Central Time.
Oh, I knew that. So
yeah, I'm on the East. Even when I leave this weekend to go to Charlotte, I'll still be on the Eastern Time zone. Yeah.
Right. So 4 to 6 our time in the East, 3 to 5 where Gerald. Midnight in Europe. Yes, because we reach everywhere. Despite my bad. So if you got time between 4 and 6, call 512-543-4662. And again, 512-543-4662, which should be an interesting weekend. And of course, we'll also have our monthly feature of the best and worst of the month. And I got a few selections there. So you might want to tune in. By the way, remember we're also on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in these exact words, the Enhanced Sports Show. If you leave anything out, sorry.
I'm going to go subscribe actually right now, Lou, so I'll go do that right now.
Right. But remember, I don't know who the subscribers are, so which is a shame. But I'm glad to say that I have subscribers now, and I thank everyone for that. So let's keep it coming, guys, because this is going to be an awesome summer, I think. On that note, Good night.
Joe, do you want to say anything before I go through the last minute stuff? Good.
Go for it.
Well, guys, thank you again. Again, this has been a great day. I will be meeting Adam in person in about 48 hours from now. So looking forward to that. I know he's I think he's driving tomorrow to Charlotte. So he will be there. That's why he's not on tonight. I think he's got a lot to do. He has to do before we get going there. But again, thank you for everyone that tuned in. This show is live on Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. All live there. So if anyone there, thank you very much. I want to give a shout out to everyone that watched my announcing gig. I got 68 views on YouTube. I want to appreciate everyone that tuned in to do that. That'll be my first game is August 25th. So it'll be here before you know it. So I'll be trying to do a video and maybe audio, depending on what I can and cannot do, because I don't want to be up giving away plays in the box. But it might be audio only. But I'm going to try to record them, and then I'll put them on YouTube and let you guys listen. Again, you're not going to be able to see anything, but you'll be able to hear me. And I guess from what I was told by many, that I got better as the game went on and I got more comfortable. So I've got some time to loosen up the chops before I get going. But yeah, so again, guys, we'll be back next week. Ashton Smith will be joining us. He will be coming on to talk about his book. Adam will be back next week. Everyone, have a good weekend. Happy Memorial Day to everyone out there. Have a good weekend. That extra day off on Monday. You're sure you will be flying back from North Carolina that day, but I'm looking forward to that. We are, again, sponsored by CreatingZenSpaces.com, Garrett's Carrots, and Funwags.com. Thank you again to our three sponsors. I think Gerald just gave me some news, but that can be shared at a different time. We do have a YouTube channel as well. Go over, guys, please, if you're listening to this video, go subscribe to Lou's channel as well. And I think Gerald has a YouTube page too. Go over there and subscribe to them. Their shows are kick-ass as much as this one is. Go over there and subscribe. Get their subscribe count up. It's nice to get up in the morning and see you have a new subscriber. The channel's up to 58 for me, so I'm trying to get that to 60 by the end of the year. It'd be kind of cool to get to 60 by the end of the year. But we are part of NGSE Sports, Snowman Multimedia Network, the Game Winners Network, and Mancini Media. Thank you guys, those four networks, for hosting us. Again, guys, I'll be back next week unless something happens over the weekend. But until then, guys, everyone stay safe out there. Thoughts and prayers to the family of Jim Brown and Tina Turner as well. You guys, two legends we lost this week. Thank to our men and women of our armed services and our first responders. Thank you guys for doing everything that you do. We wouldn't be here without you. Until next Thursday, guys, I am the Sports Sir Bradley Walker. Peace.
Good night.